Hey everybody, welcome back to another midweek episode. You know, one of the most challenging places that we can find ourselves in life is when we have a loved one, maybe it's a friend or a family member who is struggling with a mental illness. Maybe it's depression or panic attacks or bipolar or borderline personality or some other diagnosed or undiagnosed challenge mentally for them. And we know that we're asked to be there to support them and also to lift them up in prayer. But how do we do that in a helpful way? How can we pray for those who are struggling with mental illnesses? I want to share with you today 5 different simple ways that we can do that. And I pulled this from an article that I'm also going to link to in the notes section for you. The first thing that we pray is that God would give them acceptance of their situation, that God would allow them to take personal responsibility for their actions, rather than pretending like they don't have a problem or that it's somebody else's problem. We pray that they would come to a place where they would accept their struggles, that they would be able to talk those out honestly and openly with others, and that they would begin to control the controllables, the daily decisions that they make around the sleep that they get, the exercise that they get, the diet that they consume, even the media that they consume, the devotions that they do, the church, the worship service that they attend, that they would control those controllables. So that's the first one. God, give them an acceptance of their situation. Secondly, then, we're praying that God would provide them with a holistic team of helpers. See, when it comes to mental health, it's not just about where their minds are at. We're psychosomatic beings, so what happens mentally affects us physically, affects us spiritually, affects us relationally. And for people to come to a greater place of health, they need to have a team of people that is brought together. So pray for their doctor, pray for their psychologist, their psychiatrist, a counselor, even a Christian counselor for them, a pastor who can be there to support them. Pray for all of those people. Number 3, we pray that God would give them patience. Because we live in a culture where we want instant results. As soon as we're diagnosed with something and we go to the doctor and we get on medication, we want to see immediate improvement. And it's often an up and down journey. It takes time. It takes patience. And so we're asking that God would give them patience in that journey, and that He'd also give us patience in that process as we walk with them and as we support them. Fourth, then, our prayer is that God would give them someone to serve. What can happen when someone struggles with a mental illness is life is curved in on themselves, and it's all about them. But the most healthy way for us to live is to rediscover a sense of mission and purpose, and to find some way, some outlet, someone that we can serve. So pray that they would have that opportunity. And then number 5, pray that God would give them hope. Ultimately, a hope that we have in Jesus, and in the end, a hope of heaven. See, I believe in Jesus, all things are possible. That someone who has been diagnosed with a mental illness can get the help that they need and can find healing. But sometimes that doesn't happen until eternity. We know that in eternity, in the resurrected body, that it's not just that there's no more physical ailments, there's also no longer any mental ailments. And so we're praying that this person would hold on to that hope, that they would keep going forward with Jesus as he leads them. and that we would do the same. You know, if you've got somebody in your life right now who's struggling with a mental illness, don't be afraid to talk to somebody else about it. Don't be afraid to talk to one of us as a staff here at St. John's. And most importantly, make sure that you're lifting that person up in prayer to the God of all hope, as Paul says in Romans chapter 15, verse 13. He hears our prayers, and he's here for us. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you again next time.